Good morning, welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 14th September. So it's all eyes on the ECB today. To be fair, yesterday I was looking for the inflation data to come out from the US. Today it's the ECB meeting. So let's just look at the data here. So Thursday we've had the Australian data that's just refresh this. We've already seen the employment data coming out in Australia. Jobs. The job market is pretty tight still. I mean, unemployment figure of 3.7 is a pretty tight employment, and it pushes up wage demands and consequently inflation. So still quite inflationary what we're seeing here at the moment. We've got today then at 1:15 we've got the main announcement and the statement that will certainly cause some volatility there. It's now expected to come in at 4.25. Previous, that's untouched actually. I'm seeing and that I think that in itself will create volatility. Aside of that, then we got US more inflation in the form of the producers price index coming in out there at 130. And then following on from that, US retail sales, again very important data. And then of course we got the ECB press conference at 1:45. So it really is a busy old day today in terms of potential anyway. Volatility, that is. So where are we with the euro at the moment? Starting off with the euro here on the dailies. Well, it's consolidated, and I'm not surprised here. Yesterday it ended up pulling back. This morning it's bouncing a little bit. This is a sort of in the natural state of things. You'd be looking at this and thinking, well, it has. This is a 4-hourly chart here. Has a chance. It sort of had this long downward movement consolidation phase. Could well roll over, but there are some cracks in it. It did put higher lows in, at least a higher low on this 4-hourly sitting here. The rest of it's being quite consolidated, and other people will be pointing out this. Might as well try and draw it across the top there somewhere. Depends how you pop it on there, but you can see the wedge formation. Problem with wedges is they're unpredictable. So and it's an unpredictable day. So best left this morning. Let's get the news out. Let's see where it takes us. Let's let the US movement happen, and then make a decision from there onwards. So choppy as anything yesterday. You can see it on the hourlies here. Today, well, potentially choppy as anything. The pound is just still consolidating. I mentioned yesterday my green line on here, my pivot. It's a very, very key point. It's so many times, and it did it again yesterday. The price just bounced off that level. I don't know what it is about 124.34. It's not like it's even a solid whole number or what it is. It really doesn't matter, but it has for many occasions either provided support or resistance. It's a very pivotal area, so I've left it on there, and I will leave it on there so long as it's breaking. Now, yesterday I was talking about there's a bit of a head and shoulder pattern kicking in through here. Well, it didn't trigger the lows, it didn't break the support level. I was waiting, and I did a little update in the afternoon for anyone that's on my Discord or Telegram sites there. I just popped an update on there, but I just said, we've got to see a break of that area. Never broke, and it just has come back. It's sort of damaged the top end of the shoulder and negated the head and shouldery pattern. Now, why do I look at head and shouldery patterns? Because they work. Ironically, when they trigger, they've got a good probability of working. Anyway, let's move on. It's chop at the moment there. The US dollar yen. Well, yesterday I was expecting the gap fill. Got the gap fill on the news as it happened. It was a very quick old move. It run into its daily R2. I mentioned in the morning that the probability of the R2s being hit if we haven't hit the pivot, and it's run through the R1, the R2, 75% probability of being hit. Well, it certainly did the trick yesterday. Today we've skimmed the pivot there. We've hit the S1. US data later could see a bit more of a change. It actually popped and dropped on the data. The inflation came out higher than expected in the US, and we saw the US dollar strengthen here against the yen. But there's still people worried more about the state of the economy, etc., and that sort of saw it pull back. And it is inflation in mainly energy, and I think people were looking at the detail then. Anyway, at the moment, what we're seeing here, we put a lower high in on this hourly time frame. We could break down towards the S2 later, but it could be a quite old morning again. Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar still working off its bounce here, so it's bouncing further at the moment off those prior lows on my alert level, as I like to think of it. I put that alert down there because I wanted to add into a position if it broke it, or no, adjust a position if it broke it, but it never did. So you see what happened since. We had the flag sort of pattern coming through yesterday. That was broken. We went up to its R1 today, this morning. Let's just go through there. There we go. So that's broken through there, consolidating where it is at the moment. Again, with data coming out today and the shape of this, it really isn't giving me a great deal, although maybe later if we start seeing a bit of weakness in the dollar, we could see this pushing. It's a candidate for it with the higher lows, as are many of these markets. We've seen the dollar rising so strongly, but we got to wait for next week for the Fed's meeting and the interest rate decision from the US. Looking at the US dollar CAD then, well, the US dollar came off against the CAD. Yesterday was again, I did an update in the afternoon there, giving a suggestion, and it broke, and it came, if I'll bring back the 4 hourly there, it came within a smidgen of its weekly S2. It could find support off this area. It's got a lower probability of breaking it, so we could be finding a bit of support there. I'm just looking at it's difficult to see where it's going at the moment. We've got spikes either side of the price action. It's not clear, so probably best avoided. Now, currencies like New Zealand dollar really following, well, I say like the New Zealand dollar, but the New Zealand dollar is following pretty hand in hand in what the Aussie's doing at the moment. A little bit more positive, higher lows put through here. In fact, it looks fractionally more positive than the Aussie, but has again the scope of further upside in terms of what it's doing here. So at the moment it is in a short-term, and I mean short-term, bullish phase. At this stage it could become a medium term, but it's a short-term phase in my measurement style at the moment. US dollar Swissy not going anywhere. Euro yen, I'm just looking at some of these from a 4 hourly point of view. Euro yen has still been sort of sitting not far off its highs here. It's a little bit further away, consolidating. It had already closed its gap there, as mentioned yesterday. There's not a great deal happening here. Potentially some further downside here. It has put a lower high in on the shorter time frame here. We didn't quite push through there. It's broken the lows there, and it does look a bit soft this morning, so we could see a bit more of a follow through there. Hasn't yet caught the daily pivot, of course. There's a probability it would hit that. It's quite high, but if it starts selling off post 8 o'clock, that could continue there. Okay, other pairs, there's not a lot of clarity in any of these. I'm just sort of running through there. We come down to a 4 hourly time frame just to show you these and run through them very quickly. There's not a lot of clarity. There's the potential Euro Aussie to roll back again. Euro CAD not too dissimilar when he gets on there. There we go. It's just continue to sort of fit this lower highs, lower lows pattern. It is in this sort of downward trend. Retracements may give us an opportunity. Just got to be wary again with the euro in it, with the Eurobond meeting today. These are probably best avoided. Okay, so not a great deal of markets there to jump aboard. Let's just quickly look at the gold price and what's happening with gold. So gold sitting on this sort of wedgy pattern. It does look quite bearish as it sits at the moment, and it looks like it's got some potential further downside as it sits. So looking soft on gold at the moment. Oil. Now oil, once again, I mentioned it yesterday. I mean, so I've got to give way to 92, but this may well have more upside. Yesterday, right old mess. Come 2 o'clock, didn't push to the upside, ran to the downside, looking soft. So, and we getting a bit more of a push this morning. So yeah, okay. This may continue through this afternoon. Personally, I prefer to trade it, but I'm still in bullish mode, looking at probably, as I say, a run up to about 92 at some stage. Right, quickly looking at the Northern American markets, US markets, S&Ps. Come up the time frame here yesterday, so ended up positive consolidation where it sits at the moment. The inflation didn't really do too much to it yesterday. I mean, we ended up with positive data. I think traders are looking beyond the energy aspects of that inflation, and we're seeing this sort of at the moment, messy. I mean, this is just real mess. Best avoided these markets when they're like this. I had 2 trades yesterday, and both of them were scalpy sort of trades. Had a bit of a news trade on the dollar yen, as I mentioned, and I had a turned out sort of scalpy on the CAD. It happened quickly, but these markets here, very choppy, and this sort of same sort of picture here. Looking in the current time frame on this Dow Jones, to me that looks a bit on the softer side. It's quite messy on the 4 hours. Short time frame here looks like it wants to roll over. Maybe you'll see something more come of that as we run through the morning. Nasdaq was looking the more positive of the US markets, and it still does, but again, consolidation around that phase. Moving close to home, the DAX lower highs, just being another lower high on the dailies there, being sort of shown signal through. I mean, it does look soft as we're looking at it at the moment. Again, we could see a follow through, a break of the pivot post 8 o'clock. Could see us running back down towards yesterday's lows there. There's not a lot to cheer it up. Of course, though, the DAX will be affected by interest rates later, so just bear that in mind. FTSE's been a little bit more positive. It's a bit spiky though on the upside. In other words, the sellers coming into the market each day at certain points and just pushing it back. It's got higher lows coming through here, and well, overall looks like it's got more potential. It's just coming off the highs at the moment again though, so bear that in mind. Maybe a breakout trade potential there. Okay, that's pretty much it for me this morning. I'm going to wish you a great day's trading. Watch out for the data, so watch out. I'll just bring the calendar up to remind you of this, and it may be that you're better off sitting on your hands. So we've got 1:15, 1:45 for the European Central Bank meetings, etc., and press conference, and the 1:30 for the US data. Right, have a great one, and good luck, and bye for now. Right, guys.